Hey guys, well, welcome Stephanie, and then welcome to all the YouTube Vol students who are following our session that's part of our Vols Abroad Funding Week 2019. So today we're going to really be talking about choosing the right program for your budget. So my name is Michael Saenz, and I'm a Programs Abroad Coordinator here at the Center for International Education, and I help students like yourselves choose the right program in terms of budgets, in terms of experience type. So that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about today. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get the presentation started. We're going to try to make it as interactive as possible. So before we get started, we just want to go right ahead and explain the different types of programs that we have for education abroad. And I'll go into further detail about them, but we do have faculty directed, we have our exchange direct affiliate, and then we also have UT academic internships. So for those students who are interested in academic internships, those are also a great way to have an international experience. So to get started, UT faculty directed programs, over 60% of our students who do apply or study abroad go on these types of programs. They're UT faculty directed programs. They're usually shorter term, so they go over the spring break periods, mini term ends. So that's something to keep in mind as you're looking to budget. Most of the courses are taught in English, and UT faculty or UT students are taught by UT faculty members. So that means that all students who participate on these types of programs are receiving UT credit. So if you're looking to complete an intermediate language requirement, that's a really good way to do that. As you can see, what's highlighted in green, costs are going to vary by program, and so are inclusions. So as we look at all these programs today, that's one of the things that we're going to highlight and really want you to focus on are the costs, the location, and then also looking at the various inclusions, because they are going to vary from program to program. Any questions? Any questions, Stephanie?
No.
Yeah. Okay. So we have UT exchange programs. So these are probably the types of study abroad programs that most of our students have heard of, that you've probably heard of an exchange.
Yeah.
So the nice thing about an exchange is it's really what it sounds like. We're exchanging students. One student goes to one of our partner universities and one of their students comes here. And the beautiful thing about that is that allows you to pay your in-state tuition or your residency tuition. So if you're an in-state student, that allows you to pay your in-state tuition. If you're an out-of-state student, that's what you're going to pay. So it's differential tuition. So it's with the UT partner university. So we have a partner university named the University of Manchester. That's the one that I always like to talk about. They're mainly semester experiences. So in terms of length, they are for a longer period of time. And they're part of, or there are more immersive experiences. So if you're looking to learn a language, if you're looking to take classes with locals, if you're looking to be exposed to a different educational system, these are a really good type of program. And then looking at the finances, costs, again, because we are exchanging students, are very similar to UT. So tuition and fees are usually paid to the university, and sometimes room and board could also be included as part of what you're paying. So keep that in mind. Courses can be in English. If you know a different language, if you're looking to learn a language, exchange programs are a good way to accomplish that goal. They do have our earliest deadlines, and they do provide transfer credits. So that's one of the things that we could go in at a later point in time, because today we're just going to focus on the finances. So again, UT exchange, we're exchanging students. That's what allows you to pay your home tuition. If you don't mind me asking, Stephanie, are you in-state?
I'm in-state.
You're in-state?
Yes.
Yeah. So these are, if you're looking to go abroad for a longer period of time, it allows you to pay what you pay as if you never left campus.
Okay.
What do you study?
Right now I'm a human resource management.
Okay, so you're within the Hazel College of Business.
Yeah.
What year are you?
Freshman.
Oh, so you're still a youngin'. Then we have UT Direct programs. In terms of the experience itself, it's very similar to an exchange program. So we also partner with UT universities, but financially, this is where it's going to differ from exchange programs. That means financially is that you're going to pay a program fee directly to them. So the nice thing about these types of programs is you could go right ahead and choose which option is cheapest for you if that's something that you wanted to do. So we do have partner institutions. They are semester-based programs, most of them, but we also have some summer options as well. We'll kind of talk about the locations because sometimes the direct fees can vary based on the locations that you go to, and again, their transfer credit. But highlighting the financial aspect of it is you pay the partner fee directly, and in some cases, depending on the region of the world, you might be paying less, equivalent to what you would pay here at UT, or sometimes a little bit more. But sometimes you could go right ahead and make the choice whether you wanted to do exchange or direct.
Okay, so if you were to do a UT Direct, you would pay their tuition, but would you still be paying like anything for UT? Like,
Yeah, so no. So in terms of if you were to do a direct option, the only thing that you would pay here on campus is a $175 study abroad administrative fee. But that $175 is charged to all students who end up going abroad,
okay,
regardless of whether you're direct, faculty directed, or exchange.
so let's say you're living on campus, right? And you're like in the residence hall.
Yes.
So you would do like a semester in another country,
Yes.
you wouldn't have to pay the, like, room and board here?
No, if you were to do a direct,
Mhm.
yes, no, yeah. And that's actually, you bring up a really good question, so you wouldn't have to.
Okay,
Right? If you live on campus, one of the nice things about living on campus, Stephanie, is if you decided to study abroad one semester or the other, they could actually cancel your lease for that semester that you're going abroad because you are going abroad.
okay,
But you're not paying it on top of it, right?
okay,
So they would allow you to cancel the lease. But that's something to always keep in mind. So, in your first year, you are, living in the dorms, but next year you might decide to live with friends. So if you do decide if you want to go for a semester, we always encourage students just to think about that because in that case, there's not that much control of the lease if you're living off campus, but on campus. If you were to live on campus and study abroad, they'll cancel the lease for that semester.
okay.
Make sense? Good question. So the next program option are our UT affiliate programs. So they're really third-party organizations. So the way I like to put them is that they're an intermediary between where you're going to be studying and UT. So they really help organize the on-the-ground expenses as part of your program. More than likely, you will study abroad with other American students, so that's something to keep in mind. Programs have a great deal of structure and costs are going to vary. So at a later point in time, I think this might make more sense once I start illustrating this information, but costs are going to vary widely by location and the different type of organization that you're going on. Financially, they are going to work a little more like direct programs where the overall program fee or all the expenses part of your study abroad program are going to be paid directly to that affiliate or directly to someone, not here on campus. Yeah. And affiliates, they have shorter term experiences and longer term experiences as well. So if you wanted to go for a semester, if you wanted to go abroad for summer, that's a good way to do it.
Okay.
And UT academic internships, these are our customized internships. So those are usually really good for business students and for all students in general. But it's a good way where you could gain practical experience while still having an international experience. The term that you would usually go is in summer. Academic internships usually last from 6 to 8 weeks. And you would gain UT academic credit. So similar to the faculty directed programs that we talked at the beginning, you would be gaining UT academic credit. All internships are in English, but the nice thing is if you are fluent in a different language, you can participate in an internship if you are fluent. So financially, kind of like our exchange programs and our faculty directed programs, you do pay UT tuition. So again, it's differential. So that means if you're in-state, you pay at the in-state rate. If you're out of state, you pay at the out-of-state rate. There's a program fee that's also included, and really what that program fee includes is your accommodation, the internship placement itself, and costs are gonna vary from location to location. So that's one of the things that we always want you to keep in mind as we're going through the sessions, because that's really gonna help dictate, the types of expenses that you're gonna have. And that's location and the experience that you might have, or that you might wanna have. Any questions? Have you thought about interning?
I have, but I'm not sure because I'm a human resource management major, but I'm thinking about switching to another, like business major.
Oh, okay. We're gonna do supply chain?
I do supply chain or business analytics.
Oh, you must be smart. So to really paint a picture for you, we wanted to show you what you're paying now, just to kind of see, just to really compare it to our study abroad experiences. Because you'll notice that in some cases, what you're paying now is not really different than what you would pay for an abroad experience. So here, this is what you would, as a first year student specifically. Hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, come on in, come on in. Only $100 for you. Yeah. Yeah, come on in. Have a seat. So we were just covering with Stephanie and for our YouTube followers. We just wanted to paint a picture of what you guys are paying or what you guys are paying in terms of expenses here on campus, just to paint that picture. So as you can see, it's in-state, out-of-state, in-state for summer, and then out-of-state for summer. So we're really focusing on in-state and out-of-state so that you can kind of get a general idea. So as you can see, if you're in-state for a semester, this is what all your inclusions to include your tuition is costing you, and then obviously for an out-of-state student, and then kind of looking at the subsequently in the summer. So just as we look at different programs today, make sure that you do focus on the total figures, and we're going to try to compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges where we can, and just give you tidbits and tips and advice to really consider it. Any questions up to this point? No? So these are the things that we really want you to think as you're looking to choose the right program and how to find the one that's most cost effective for you. And that first point is really, really, really important in terms of non-traditional locations. Because sometimes most of our students are still going to Western Europe. A lot of students also like to go to Australia, New Zealand. And those locations, even though they're great destinations of the world, tend to be a little bit more on the expensive side of things. So we always encourage our students to kind of think outside the box and consider locations that are called non-traditional locations. So really where students are not, or our American students are not traveling for their study abroad experience. So as you can see, Africa, Asia, Central and South America are non-traditional regions of the world. And they're, obviously because they're developing countries, they have a lower cost of living. So kind of looking at that holistically as part of your study abroad experience is something that we always encourage students to think about. So Africa, Asia, Central and South America are really good ways to find a program that are a little on the cheaper side of things. And in some cases, some programs are even cheaper than what you would pay. So kind of going back to this slide right here is even cheaper than what you would pay from these ranges right here, even as an in-state student. So that's something to keep in mind. So duration, looking at short-term versus long-term, and we know that sometimes it's easy to think that short-term programs are less expensive than longer-term experiences. And yes, that's the case in reality, but we always like to encourage you guys to really divide the cost of a short-term experience versus a long-term experience over that period of time. And you'll notice that as you're looking at the duration, the shorter term experience per day is a little bit more expensive than your longer term experience. You're gonna have fixed costs such as your flight. So you're gonna have to purchase a flight whether you decide to go 3 weeks or whether you decide to go for 4 months. So if you spread that expense across 4 months, you'll start to see those types of differences. Looking at the program fee, we're going to go over this in detail because some of our programs have a program fee included and some of them don't. But that doesn't mean that some of those inclusions aren't included as what you're getting for what you're paying for. So we really want to make sure that you guys do understand that. Housing options, as you guys are looking at programs, all our programs offer very different housing options. Some offer homestays, residence halls, student apartments. Some residence halls and some homestays come with meals included. So as you're looking at the program, if that's important for you in terms of saving money, that's something to keep in mind as well. Airfare, so looking at point number 5, airfare and proximity. Usually if you go to parts of Asia, Australia, New Zealand, those are going to be probably a little bit more on the expensive side of things in terms of airfare, obviously because it's farther away. But Central and South America, parts of Europe, because we're on the East Coast, depending also when you go, offer really good airfare rates. So these are all things that we would really encourage you to look at. Extra fees, point number 6, we do have some programs that do charge upfront costs or so as you can see, some are housing deposits, additional activities, course insurance, like Australia for our students who go abroad for a semester. In addition to insurance that they might be enrolled for their study abroad experience, they have to be enrolled by the Australian government. So there's an additional fee right there. So if you're really looking to compare apples to apples, you'll start to see that in some countries they might have additional fees just based on some of their governmental requirements. And then last but not least, application fees, out-of-pocket expenses. Not all our study abroad programs have an application fee, but some of them do, mostly for our affiliate programs. And those could really start to add up. They could be $95, they could be $50. Sometimes they could be as high as $150. So depending on the affiliate that you decide to go on, that's something to consider. And that usually doesn't go towards your overall program fee. So all in all, these are the points that as you start to look at different programs here at UT, we just ask for you to consider. Because when you start considering them, you really start to see kind of the differences between all the costs that are included. Any questions up to this point that you guys may have? Yes.
What's the most popular, duration? Like, people go like for semester, for midterm, summer?
Yeah, we would say that it's summer. So from mini-term all the way until the end, I think it's 70%, 75% of our students who actually go abroad for a shorter period of time.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you guys thinking about going shorter term, longer term?
If I did want to have a shorter term, my major and everything.
What's your major?
Well, I'm a kinesiology major, but I'm hoping to graduate in 3 years. And maybe get my master's the 4th year, so we'll see.
Mm-hmm. And how about you?
I was going to do probably trying to maybe a summer term
Okay.
and major's business.
Cool. Yeah. So what kind of, do we have a short-term program included? Yeah.
We have a faculty directed.
Yeah, so we could look at the faculty directed program just so you guys can see. But yeah, they do seem cheaper, when they're put right in front of you. But then when you kind of start doing the math and looking at all the inclusions, you'd be surprised. So, you guys weren't here, but I could kind of give you guys some more background on the different type of program types just so that I could bring you guys up to speed. But we wanted to show you guys different examples on the different program types. And in this case, this is an exchange program. And really what exchange, do you guys know what exchange is, how that works? So exchange programs is we're exchanging students. So one student is going to our partner university. In this case, it's Mohammed Ali University. So we have this partnership we're exchanging students. Some UT students go there, some Thai students come here. And the nice thing about that is that allows you to pay your tuition as if you were here on campus. But it's differential tuition, so if you're an in-state student, you're paying at the in-state rate, but if you're an out-of-state student, then that's what you're gonna be paying. So that's why we really wanted to give you a general idea and paint that picture of what you pay here on campus, because if you look at this exchange program right here, this is what you're paying for expenses here on campus, right? So from the 11,933 to the 17,988, all those prices are gonna fluctuate. But if you look on an exchange program for an in-state student, most of those expenses are gonna cost you less than what you pay here on campus. And this is for a semester-long program. Make sense? And then for the out-of-state students, that's gonna be a little bit more expensive. So you can see the rate there. And then even for the out-of-state students, it's gonna be a little bit more expensive. But another tip that we ask our students to always consider, especially for our out-of-state students, is although exchange programs are really, really good programs, financially, I think they're not advantageous to the out-of-state students. So we always encourage students to possibly choose a program where they don't pay exchange here on campus, or they wouldn't pay UT tuition, but where they would pay direct fees directly to either a direct program or with an affiliate, because in those cases, it's usually gonna be cheaper. Are any of you guys out of state, if you don't mind me asking? So you guys are in state. So for in-state students, especially if you're wanting a very immersive experience, an opportunity to take classes with locals, exchange opportunities are really, really good opportunities. And as you guys can see here, I mean, cheaper than what you guys pay here on campus. It's a heck of a deal, even for the in-state students. So yeah, you can see all the inclusions. So that's one of the things that we can focus on as well. You know, there's housing, insurance, meals, living expenses, book and materials. So some of the similar expenses that you're having here are a lot cheaper than what you would have here on campus. So. And then if you guys have your passport, that's an expense that you guys won't have to make. It is now $145. Any questions regarding this budget? No questions? So looking at the affiliate programs, this is our UT Seville program. So again, with an affiliate program, these are third-party organizations where you're not paying any tuition or any part of the program fee here on campus. You're paying your fees directly to the affiliate, and really they're this intermediary between where you're going to be studying in UT. So as you can see, again, we've painted the picture of what you would pay here on campus. So again, 1,200 or 12,000 to almost 18,000. And if you compare it to the affiliate program, right here, even as an in-state student, it's a little bit more expensive for our in-state students, but it's very similar to what you would pay here on campus. And then for the out-of-state students, this is where we encourage you guys to consider these types of programs, because you can see that they're significantly cheaper than what you would pay here on campus for your out-of-state. And when you look at these expenses, again, they're going to vary based on spending habits and when you purchase your airfare, things of that nature. So some of the items that we blacked out are the items that on the other experience you would or wouldn't have that experience. So you can kind of see those added expenses. And then right here, I do want to mention this because kind of comparing it to our exchange programs, as you can see asterisk, then there's an overall program fee for affiliate programs. But usually what that program fee includes, it includes tuition, housing, insurance, most meals and excursions. And the most meals is really going to depend on the program that you end up choosing. So That's something to keep in mind. But this seems like a really big figure, but it's pretty comparable. And we'll look at the inclusions later. That's pretty much what you would be paying on some aspects of the exchange program. Any questions? No questions from the YouTube people?
Not yet.
Alright. So last but not least, I think, this is our faculty directed programs, and like our exchange programs and our UT academic internships, UT students are paying differential tuition. So again, if you're in-state, you're paying at the in-state rate. If you're an out-of-state student, that's what you're gonna be paying. And here you can kind of see for UT, this is what you would be paying for a shorter term experience here on campus, which is $4,690 to $5,415. And for the UTK in Costa Rica program, it's a little higher, $7,000 to $7,296. And you can see those inclusions right there. And again, we blacked out some of the information that you wouldn't be paying or you wouldn't be paying on the other experience, and then kind of looking at the out-of-state.
Oh, no.
It's, I think that's a typo, right?
Mm-hmm. The in-state should be
Yeah, so I think it's been,
cheaper.
reversed. So that's probably not the best example, but if you guys were looking to go on a faculty directed program, the out-of-state rate would be a little bit more expensive just because that's the tuition that you're paying for. Questions? No questions? Okay, so do you guys have your computers here by any chance?
Yes.
Yeah, if you guys want to take them out, we're gonna make it a little bit more interactive. So then we're gonna give you some information just so that you guys could go right ahead and take home, but so that you guys could go ahead and have the experience as well to fill out some of this information on your own. Okay, so if you guys want to go to programs.utk.edu, so what we're gonna have you do is if you, I'm gonna show you guys how to access a program. Have you guys already started the process looking at particular programs that you guys are interested in? Kind of not, okay, so I'll kind of walk you guys on how you guys could do that and identify the particular program. So if you go to program search and you click on this little icon right here, I always encourage all our students to go to advanced search. Yeah, so if you're on your phone as well, we do have a mobile friendly app as well. So here you can kind of see that you can narrow it down by location, you can narrow it down by term. So if you're looking to go abroad for a longer period of time, you can select the term. If you're looking to go abroad for a shorter period of time, whether that be mini term, summer 1 or summer 2, you can narrow it down by there. But if you wanted to add some additional filters, you could also look at specific parameters in terms of your field of study, experience type. So maybe if you wanted to intern abroad, maybe if you wanted to conduct some research, study abroad, that's something that you can do. And then based on the program types that we walked you through, if you wanted to filter it by an affiliate program, a direct program, an exchange program, that's something that you could go ahead and do. But in this case, one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the UT Exchange, but you guys could choose the program of your choice or program type. So I'll go UT Exchange just to show you guys. And if you hit search, you could go right ahead and see all the programs that are available to our exchange students, if that's something that you wanted to do. So if you click on one program, I'm just going to go to the Chinese University of Hong Kong. Is everybody following me? Or you can choose the program of your choice. You could go right ahead and see there's a general application information, but for exchanges specifically, you could, under cost sheet, if they're gonna be the academic year, the fall or the spring. So just because we're looking to go into fall, I'm gonna click on fall. You can go right ahead and see what the budget for that particular program is. And again, you're gonna see there's tuition, there's a study abroad administrative fee and international. And for all our exchange programs, this billable total is gonna be charged to your MyUTK account, and then you're still gonna have to consider these out-of-pocket expenses right here. So as you can see, this experience itself will be around $12,925. And these out-of-pocket expenses are gonna vary a little bit. So one of the things that I'll give you guys, if you guys wanna select 2 to 3 study abroad programs that you're mostly interested in, whether it be faculty-directed programs, affiliate programs, if you guys wanted to do shorter or some direct programs, just fill in these sheets and Anastasia and I can walk around the room and help you guys, just so you guys can kind of compare the costs. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
On this worksheet?
Yeah.
Okay. It also might be a good idea for you to save one of your columns to put your UT expenses, so you can compare those to your two or three programs that you have picked out as well. And if you guys have trouble finding costs, because not every page has cost information directly on it, you can just ask us and we can walk you through it.
Yeah, I'll show you guys an affiliate program so that you guys can see this as well. Because at least for you guys who are looking to go abroad for a shorter period of time, I'll show you guys. So any of our programs that start with an acronym, those are usually our affiliate programs. Yes, Stephanie?
Oh, sorry. You can go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, and then we'll come. So any of our affiliate programs that usually start with an acronym are affiliate programs. So if you click on, let's say IS Abroad, Paris Business International Affairs, you could click on this program right here. But because it is a third party or an affiliate program, you're gonna have to go to the partner website to find out all the information about that program, which includes costs. So you could click here. And I probably chose a bad example, but again, this is for business international affairs. But if you scroll down, a website like this, regardless of the affiliate, is gonna come up. And here you're gonna see most affiliates have their information laid out very similarly. So you're gonna have a program overview tab, academics, whether internships or service learning opportunity are available, field trips and events, daily life, cost center. In this case, because we're really trying to help you find a program that might best fit your budget, you'll click on costs, scroll down. And here it's going to give you a broad overview of what this expense or what this program might cost you. So it's a total of $18,600 at least for spring 2019, and it might vary for fall. So this program, I chose a bad example of being higher on the higher side of things, but as you can see, this $18,600 includes your tuition, housing, and insurance. So those are all included as part of the program. And then if you scroll up and you go to field trips and events, you can kind of see that these field trips and events are also included as part of your overall program fee that you would be paying for.
Sometimes as well, you'll see that certain affiliate providers give UT students a discount off that base price too. So that's why it's really important to come in and speak with one of us, a coordinator in the programs abroad office, so we can break that down for you. Because in the case of IES abroad, there is a discount off that big sticker price too for the program.
First semester program.
First semester.
Yes.
Okay, so I went to the exchange program and I found that that was for Hong Kong,
Yes.
but it doesn't say like the tuition fee, it just says study abroad fee and international insurance.
Okay, so your tuition would be the in-state rate.
So this is spring program? Yeah, it's spring program. Okay. So it would be the 6,500 and 3,000 rate. That you put for the tuition.
Okay,
the
that's
semester
not-
program is.
Oh, it's from West Ada. Yeah.
It would still be the same rate because it's an exchange program and an in-state student.
So are you guys just looking to do like a arts and humanities course abroad or something to fulfill?
I've considered it. I was thinking about taking, either summer courses here, because right now I'm graduating a semester early. And I thought about it a year early. If I'm trying to take PT school, then, I just have a semester doing nothing pretty much if I didn't do an entire year. So I have to do either a summer or a summer abroad, a summer here, just something to where I can get my arts and humanities out of the way or something like that. Or if I did an entire semester, I'd have to be able to take my kinesiology classes
Oh, right.
over abroad, so. I'm just trying to like consider what's going on, but I haven't really put much thought into it.
Have you thought about where you guys would want to go?
If I did, it'd probably be in Europe. My parents would have a hard time going anywhere else. So,
No, it's okay. It's okay.
yeah. I saw it was like, there was one on here of the honors college going to Dublin, Ireland.
Yeah.
And so that one looked a little interesting.
Yeah, so are you part of the honors program?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's actually one of our partners. In that program, it's a little different because you would pay your expenses here on campus. That's one of our partners, University College.
Yeah. I do have a question about that though. I'm in a 1794 scholar, so that ends after my second year here. What if I wanted to go study abroad after that? Would I still be able to go from where I was part of an honors college before, or would I still have to be a part of one?
Well, I think, is it important for you to go as part of that honors program?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah.
It's just like an option.
Yeah, so that same university that we have the honors program with, we have a direct partnership with them. So you'd still be able to go to that university,
Okay.
University College Dublin, and pay the direct fee. Is that correct?
That's correct. And it's the same cost
Mhm.
as honors.
So the nice thing about it is that, even as part of the honors program, you would go to university, do what you would do as if you were here on campus, but there's that additional type of treatment that you would get as part of the honors program.
I have a question. There's, I don't know what it is, but one of my friends, she went to like multiple countries.
Oh, huh.
I don't know what that is. Is that a program? or-
Yeah, so we have a program called our UT Open Campus program, and it's actually with CIEE, and it, during the semester, well, another semester at C actually, she actually did a semester at C, which is really cool. But this UT Open Campus program, it allows you to be in a different country every 6 weeks. And it allows you to take 2 courses every 6 weeks for a total of 15 to 18 credit hours. And then there's semester at sea.
Yeah, so semester at sea, you actually study abroad on a cruise ship, and you're sailing around the world while taking classes on the ship. So I've got to see 12 different countries on that program this semester.
You did that one?
Mhm.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, it was wonderful. But I had never been out of the country before I did it, so it really opened up.
Which country did you go to?
Well, so we started in the Caribbean, and we went to Dominica, and then Brazil, Ghana, South Africa, Mauritius, which is off the coast of Madagascar. Went to Singapore, India, Vietnam, China, Taiwan, Hawaii, and then ended in San Diego. So we literally circumnavigated the globe and made it back to the US.
How did that work, like, with funding?
Yeah, so For me, and for all of you too, because UT makes it very possible for you to use your financial aid. I was able to use the same financial aid package that I had at my home institution and use it for that program for the semester. So already that was a really big help. And then semester at Seed and my university offered additional scholarships as well. So on top of that, I was almost able to pull the full cost of the program through scholarships in my financial aid package. It didn't cost me any more than, being on campus for a semester. However, with a program that you're sailing on a ship and you're traveling to all those different countries, there's a bigger cost involved than maybe being in one country for the semester. So, it doesn't work out that way for everyone, but they do a really good job of offering funding. And a lot of our affiliate partners do the same. They offer their own funding for students, or they'll match your Pell Grant if you have a Pell Grant, and try to get you as much funding as possible for that experience.
So now that you guys asked that question, one of the things that I could go ahead and do is I'll go to our website so we could also show you the funding opportunities that you guys could take advantage of as part of the funding opportunities that you have here on campus. So if you go to students, financial aid, and scholarships here, as Anastasia was saying, UT is very supportive of you guys using their internal financial aid. So that page is really going to talk to you about how you can use your current financial aid package and scholarships. So whether that be HOPE, whether you're a Pell Grant recipient, things of that nature. But if you go to additional funding opportunities, click here. This is going to walk you through on all these scholarship opportunities that are internally and externally awarded, or externally, I can't talk, funded. The CAE Study Abroad Undergraduate Scholarship, we encourage all our students to apply for summer programs. If you were to be a recipient, it's a $750 award. If you were to go abroad for a semester, it's $1,250. And that's something to also keep in mind. There are some scholarship organizations that if you apply for the scholarship opportunities, are going to give more based on a longer term experience. We have some specific to exchange programs, so if you're interested in that particular program type, that's also really good. So you can see some are in Japan. If you're part of the honors program, you can apply for the Ready for the World grant. If you're part of the Haskell College of Business, there are scholarship opportunities that are given by them. If you're pursuing a major or a minor in a language, that's also a funding opportunity there. If you scroll down even more, there's externally awarded funding opportunities, and these are all opportunities given by outside organizations. One that we like to highlight is the Benjamin A. Gilman Scholarship, which is given by the Department of State. You do have to be a Pell Grant recipient to apply for the scholarship. But it's a really, really nice scholarship that could be a significant help in paying for your international experience. There are other scholarships such as Diversity Abroad scholarships, so you guys could walk or peruse through these websites to see if you are eligible for this particular experience types or for these scholarship opportunities you can see. So back to your question 2, Stephanie, that UT Open Campus program, not semester SC that we were showing. There are open campus grants, so this UT Open Campus program where you could jump from one location to the other every 6 weeks. There are funding opportunities for the UT Open Campus, and those tend to be very significant.
Okay, so if you went like off of the open campus one, would you go for like a specific class, or how does that work?
Yeah, so it varies. So they have different tracks. So one of those tracks is actually a business track. One's a little bit more aligned with public health. One's communications, journalism. The third one is like sustainability. So what you would do is they offer different courses each 6 weeks that you're there. So in some cases you could take international finance or operations management, and then the second 2 weeks you could take international economics or something else.
Would you go with like other UT students or like other universities in the United States?
With our affiliate programs, you're more than likely, you could go with other UT students, but you don't go as a cohort as you were as if you were to go on our UT faculty directing programs. But there could be UT students, but more than likely you'll be taking classes with other American students or other international students. For the UT Open Campus program, that's a little bit more specific, where you're going to be taking classes with all American students. But a lot of opportunities, guys. So kind of highlighting, let me go back to the PowerPoint. Any questions in terms of funding before I go back to the Anything you would like to add at this stage?
Do you guys have any questions about the worksheet? I'll fill that out.
But it's a really good way to compare or try to compare apples to apples or oranges to oranges as much as possible. Because not all expenses are gonna have the same inclusions, but that way you could actually black a few things out so that you can make the necessary comparisons. So it is our Balls Abroad Funding Week, so we wanted to remind you of some additional events that are gonna go on this week that we really encourage you guys to take advantage of. So if you guys are looking at additional opportunities to fund your study abroad experience or ways to find the right program for you, our next session is gonna be tomorrow, which is our Gilman informational session. So if you're interested in that, that's gonna take place in Melrose Hall and those times. And then again, we have all kinds of opportunities going on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So if you guys are interested, we would really encourage you, just so that you guys can have all the necessary information to make an informed decision on your study abroad experience. And like Anastasia mentioned at the beginning as well, that's why we're here as advisors, to really sit down with you and talk to you about what you hope to accomplish, not only academically, but what fits within your experience and your circumstances. So we could sit down with you and have a discussion on what we've kind of covered today, what you hope to accomplish, what your budget is for the program, and then hopefully we could identify something that best fits what you're looking to do academically, but also financially.
How do you schedule that by
So, we have a resource room. Have you been to our office yet?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so in our resource room, you can come in anytime from 11 to 5, and our peer advisors are staffing that room. During those times, you can just talk to them and they can make you an appointment with one of the coordinators. So like Mariah, we have 3 others as well, or 4 others. And so you would just make an appointment based on your college, and they would schedule it with you then. You can also email us or call our office as well, 942 on the website. This is all really great information. If anyone has to convince their parents about study abroad, if you're prepared with this information right off the bat, that's kind of what I did to convince my parents to let me go. Is I had a budget, I had, all the scholarships that they knew to apply for. I had a PowerPoint actually that I showed them to walk them through the program and like all the costs that were involved with how I was planning to handle that. And after that was done, they were like, looks like you got it. Like there was no reservations at that point. So if anyone is trying to convince their parents that this is a good idea, being prepared and having those numbers ready for them is good information to have.
Any questions, guys, before we let you guys go? We do have social media, so I'm always slapping on the hand when I don't promote our social media. So these are our hashtags right here for Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We also use the hashtag Balls Abroad, so you can see all types of study abroad experiences. Did you give them these over too? Here, I'm gonna give these to you, so this kind of lists the schedule of this funding, so that you guys could participate on those sessions as well. Alright? Well, thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you.